Let's talk about it. So let's talk about the Judge Joe Brown, Umar Johnson kerfuffle a couple days ago. It was, they went back and forth, and now all the blogs have picked up and tried to use the words against Judge Joe Brown. Let's talk about that. And there's a a little bit of a correlation with what Judge Brown, the point he was trying to articulate, and you know, what rapper Ti was doing with his daughter. We're gonna talk about that expeditiously. Is that how he be saying it? Let's talk about it real quick. Ti's daughter, hymen, no diamond, and Judge Joe Brown versus Umar Johnson, whatever.
Frederick Douglass, Dr. King, and Thurgood Marshall have all been exceedingly more celebrated and remembered in both Black history and American history than Queen Mother Harriet Tubman.
They need to put them on a bill and show respect. They've got a homicidal maniac, Andrew Jackson, on a $20 bill. They've got a non-president, Benjamin Franklin, on a $50 bill. They've got Grant. They've got every Calvin Coolidge on a damn bill, too.
Douglas and King have been written about more than any other Black hero in American history. Why not give Black women their opportunity, Judge?
I don't
Why
care.
Not give,
you put a Black man on there first, because the thing of it is, they are not going to lynch. They are not going to generally lynch Black women. They'll rape them, but they'll lynch the Black men.
If they would have caught
Harriet
Tubman, they would have lynched
the dollars.
If they would have caught Harriet Tubman, they would have lynched her.
They go in and deal with getting rid of the men.
If they would have caught Harriet Tubman, they would have lynched the judge.
Stand and deliver, sacrifice self, be the last in the damn lifeboat when the women and children get in there first. You put a Black man on the corner.
I hope you're not.
Okay.
I hope you're not.
I'm sorry. There's no way you can convince me.
I hope you're not a male chauvinist, Judge. I hope you're not a male chauvinist.
I am a male chauvinist.
All right, so Umar was on Judge Joe Brown's, I don't know if it's his show or the lady who hosts the show, but he was doing his little podcast conversation via the radio, and they got into a debacle debate, and Umar Johnson tried to pivot and put Judge Joe Brown on blast and set him up, but Judge Joe Brown came out swinging. He didn't care. Umar tried to make the point, which many hoteps do: the Black woman is God, they can lead, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you're not familiar, Umar once used to be accused of being a male chauvinist and this and that. His school was for boys, and so he's going out of his way to not make it look like he is in any way against Black females being empowered in any way, shape, or form, right? Again, he was accused of this because of his school mainly. That does not exist yet. But he's gone out of his way to show you that, nope, I'm for female empowerment, which in his best interest it is. Because, largely, a lot of his followers and people who support him and give him money, probably most likely are Black women, right? So, like most preachers, it doesn't make sense to bite that hand that feeds you, right? But anyways, Judge Joe Brown was making the point that if you look, it's all about philosophy and how you look at the world, right? Umar, Black woman is God. They can do no wrong. They kittens, puppies, and rebels. That's just his stance, right? Matriarchal, maybe even egalitarianism, which is fine, whatever. That's your philosophy. Judge Joe Brown is calling for a more patriarchal view, and when you listen to his comments in the context of what he was saying, it makes sense. Now, this is the dilemma, though, because it's Harriet Tubman, and I've been saying for a while, she's a superhero, right? She's my top 5 favorite people of all time. And it's unfortunate, and this could be a different video, that all the noise around her movie, or the movie about her, and it's a lot of angles to come at this, it's a lot of angles that is a problem for the Harriet Tubman movie. You got the non-ADOS woman playing her character. You have Comcast looking like they just threw this movie out there to make it look like, you know what I mean? You got other angles of, people just done with slave movies altogether. Me personally, if slave is kicking ass and taking names and fighting for their freedom, I'm all for those type of slave movies, right? So there's a bunch of angles that have clouded this situation and messed up the game, right? Because, I mean, this movie, and it's her legacy that's being messed with. I think she deserves a movie and this and that. I would have done it more of like a graphic novel, make her look like a superhero and all this other stuff, but whatever. Count Cats got the bag and they did what they did. The movie, you know, black women supported it. Every black woman I've heard who saw the movie loved it, enjoyed it, and didn't have an issue with it. Now, the people online, the woke folks, they said they have a lot of criticism and problems with the movie. It is what it is. But sisters are supporting it. They're watching it. That $12 million that it made the first night was because, probably largely because of y'all, right? Nate Parker only did $10 million with Birth of a Nation, that first opening for a minute, her first week, whatever. This movie did 12 and it's grown, whatever. So I don't know how you measure it. Like, the movie didn't cost that much. It made 12 the first night. Like, it's gonna eventually make its money back, so it is what it is. But I don't know. But it is unfortunate that this is happening around her legacy and her people. It's not the first time. There's a lot of movies that have been sabotaged by people we want to see. Nina Simone's legacy and her situation was messed up because of the Zoe Saldana thing too. So this happens often, right? But it's unfortunate. I even think that the movie, and I've done the video already, that Chadwick Boseman was a horrible cast for Thurgood Marshall. Like, I didn't go see that shit because I'm like, why are we doing this in 2020, 2018? Like, why are we not casting people with the likeness of the people when we have the options in 2019, 2020, whatever, to do these things now? Whatever. I'm looking at people in the trailer of the movie for him. I'm like, yo, he could have played him. He could have played him. He could have played him. It's people in the movie that could have played him better and gave a better depiction and, you know what I mean, like, captured the grasp of him being a fair-skinned black man and what that meant and how there were certain liberties in that situation. Can't grasp that with Chadwick Boseman playing him, no matter how good of an actor he is or not. I don't know what you think about his acting skills, but you can't grasp that. But anyways, what the philosophical differences between what Joe Brown was saying was basically saying, yo, we can't put her on a $20 bill or money prior to a man because it would undermine a lot of things. Most groups would never do that. Most different countries, different groups, they wouldn't put the woman first. It would be a man first. And to put a woman there first would undermine some things. And then Judge Joe Brown brings up receipts saying, like, yo, not to discredit her, but there are brothers who we don't know nothing about unless you go on a tour to the museum to this particular family. You won't know about. There's just a brother who got a couple thousand people out. Not minimizing that she only freed like 200-300 people, but, and she tried to get more, obviously. But I'm saying there's men who've done that and they've done more, right? But that's not even the point. The point that he was making was like, yo, before, I have no problem with her getting her roses and her admiration, but when it comes to this hierarchy and the structure and how things work, yes, because men were not only castrated but hung and fought in wars and did all these things, we will pay homage and honor to a man first in those things because of the things they dealt with. Doesn't exclude women and their participation. And yes, she's an outlier. She's an anomaly. Again, my top 5 favorite women of all times. She deserves her roses. She deserves her praises. I don't know this idea of putting her on money, if that's, you know what I mean? Like, I know what that means to the lefty, woke folks, but I'm just saying, like, to me, it's like, really? Is that really, you know what I mean? Like, that depreciates, right? I'm not saying to diminish what money is, but I'm just saying, like, something of structure, substance that lasts forever, gold, silver, metals, that makes sense to me, but something of no value, I mean, that could at one point, at the blink of a night, you know what I mean, end of the world, it goes away like that, or gold or silver will still stay. I don't know. That's just thoughts. But I do believe what Joe Brown was saying, and I know how it's going to get spit in the media. Now, how I'm correlating this to what T.I. said, though, because the way that Umar framed the conversation to Joe Brown was like, Judge, do not tell me you are a male chauvinist, right? So he went all far left feminist bullshit because he believes that women and children should be protected, right? That's a part of it. And that's the problem that a lot of these matriarchal people don't get. Men need rewards for risking their lives. They need rewards for putting women and children first. Like, they're not going to do it just because they're going to do it, right? I remember Zaza Ali was on her rants about not subscribing to patriarchy and male leadership and this and that, and she was asking the caller, and she was doing the feminine energy and all other bullshit that Charlamagne was talking about in reference to T.I.'s daughter, which made no sense. And then at the same time, though, she said, like, I expect, because she was talking about how Professor Griff did look out for her, gave her a platform, built this for her, gave her namesake. Then she left him and went to Boyce and did the same thing. Then she left Boyce, and now I don't know what she's doing now. I think she's done with black people, though. Tragic mulatto. But she also says in that same sentence, like, I don't subscribe to male leadership, but I do expect men to do the work to give me a platform to do this and do that for me. I'm like, oh, that's confusing. But the reality is most men aren't going to do that. They need incentives and motivations to do these things. There has to be something to attach to it. And that's what Judge Brown was saying. Like, well, of course, if I'm expected to do these things, hell yeah, I believe I should be honored in that situation first. Not me in particular, but a man in general, right? That's the trade-off for the sacrifice. You have to give something to get these accolades and these protections and these, right? And how I frame that the T.I. situation, not that I agree with him. Of course, what he said was stupid to say it publicly. That was his daughter's business, right? That's not something you take to the public stare. However, I do understand with him and Jada Pickens, they put their kids' business out there, and they, they're doing too much, but that's the clicks and the likes, and that's the views that people get. So it's what it is, right? No, he shouldn't have said it publicly. That's not a conversation to be had. However, it was had, and we got to deal with that now, right? I think that he can do what he wants to do in his home and raise his children and parent them the way they want to be. But the problem that I don't think that the feminists and the bitter women who are in their feelings about the situation, you remember Angela Yee, she was all up in her feels. It's funny, too, when people repeat what was already said. Like T.I. said, the doctor said this thing does not guarantee virginity. There's other ways for the hymen to break. T.I. said that in the video, yet every person who disagreed with him re-mentioned that. And T.I. said, the doctor already told me that. So what's the point of you mentioning, well, that don't mean she a virgin? Then they bring it up, well, what about that mouth? What that mouth do? He clearly wasn't looking for those indications. He's looking for one thing, right? Again, over the top, I don't have no kids. Definitely don't have no daughter. I'm sure I would be overprotective of her as well. But what you saw from what T.I. was doing, right? And what society does not want black men to do. Not giving him the Daddy of the Year award, not like that. I'm saying when you have more patriarchal fathers in the home, things like that will happen, right? Meaning the more security you have, the less freedom you have to do fuck shit, right? And that's what I don't think people want to acknowledge. When there is a structure, when there is a patriarchy, when there is a male leadership in home, the do whatever you want to do mentality that we have in our community because there is no structure, because we just writing shit up as we go, that is curtailed. So the freedom and the amenity that you have to do what you want to do when there's two parents in the home, that's gone. And especially when you have a strict father who's, running his ship the proper way. And that's what people understand. You're saying that we want more black men in the homes and more black men do this and this and that and be more traditional and value and provide and do all these things. That comes with something. There's a trade-off involved in that. And that's what folks don't understand. All this liberal, Alicia Keys, I'm going to put some fingernail polish on my son's nails. Like, okay, a traditional patriarchal dad, he not having that shit. Like, what? You taking my son to the salon? You about to put some rainbow shit on his fingernails? The moist ass sim of a husband she got Swiss Beats, he cool with that. But a more traditional patriarchal man that's running his household, he's not flying for that, right? But those are the trade-offs you have to deal with when you have that type of worldview. And if we're saying we want more of these men in the home, then that's what's going to come with it. You can't just do what you want to do. That situation will prevent a lot more of the nonsense. You're claiming that fathers need their daughters and they need men to do this and do that, but then that comes with something, right? Like, I understand that. That's the part that people don't want to understand. And I think some of these feminists specifically, and some of these sisters who just don't subscribe to male leadership, they don't want that trade-off for what it takes to have more men in the home and be more community-minded and be more family-oriented. because it comes with something. You have to acquiesce a lot, right? It's one thing to, there's no supervision, no guidance. You can do whatever you want to do, and to go back to having a structure, and you can't just do what you want to do. You can't just go where you want to go. You can't wear what you want to wear. Can't hang around people you want to hang around because your dad says I don't approve. That's a hard pill to swallow. Like, that's hard to have that level of freedom to fuck up usually, and this is not have it to where it's overprotection to where, you know what I mean? And I see people saying, like, you should just talk to her, and if you talk to her, it didn't work, you just did a failed job as dad. Like, no. That man can parent the way he wants to parent. Is he a hypocrite and all this other nonsense? Or he don't do that to his son, and he do it to his daughter? Again, there's different expectations in society of men and women. And, again, if women have the luxury, the benefit of being protected and provided for, and men's lives are disposable, they get a couple trinkets for doing that. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. And if you want evidence on what men wouldn't do, let's look at the black community. When men view women as their equals, they tend to not want to protect and provide. Because they're like, you can do this shit yourself, right? Trade-offs. There are no solutions in life. There are just simply trade-offs in life, right? And from the response to T.I., I'm saying is, I don't think our community wants to trade off what it looks like. And a lot of people, just a lot of men, also benefit from a lack of structure. A lot of the men who are up here talking about T.I. did was wrong and this and that, blah, blah, blah. That means men like that don't have access to daughters like T.I. because to men with fathers, not even only T.I. because he's not a good example, right? He's trash. Right, his wife running around here, fucking up her body, looking like she got a diaper on because he's disrespecting their marriage and doing all types of weird shit, bringing women into the bed. She over here coloring her eyes, and look like she needed a diaper change. Walk around with that. This is crazy. He's not the best example, but we're using him because it's pop culture, it's relevant. More men who are involved, who are the primary providers of their household, can pull that card and make those type of decisions. I see people saying, "Well, she unfollowed her father." She ain't gonna follow his money, did she? No, right? Other than that, shut up, right? He's responsible for her. He's the one that has to pay for her. So, that's just it for me. People are bugging me on Xbox Live for this duty. But yeah, I'm just like, I agree with Judge O'Brown saying in the context of, yeah, she should be honored, but don't do it before you do a black man. Because it sets the precedent. And it sits on the black community, on male leadership. When you look at the sacrifices that black men have made, like, yes, black women have given up their bodies, but black men were giving up their bodies and their lives. They were lynched. They were killed. They were castrated. They were demeaned. That doesn't take away from what happened to black women. But if we're going to do this thing, let's do it right. Let's put a man on and then put a woman on next. That's simple, right? Umar says, no, well, we've already promoted Frederick Douglass and Martin King. They're not on no bill, though. They're not on no money, right? If as much as people have made Dr. King this messiah, they still ain't put him on no money. That would solidify their love affair for him. Even Muhammad Ali, which I know he would never be because he's a Muslim. But I'm saying, like, they deified him after he got a little messed up and, shaky with the hands. But if you really felt that way, he was this American hero and all that stuff that people put him on posters and put him on t-shirts now, y'all ain't put him on no bread. That's my video. I'm out.